go to this one here. Skip. New. All right. All right. You ready? You want the microphone about like that, Dad?
I do.
Yeah. 6 inches or something, just so you could hear good. That'll work. All right. All right. Special Madhouse Bar Talks today. Got my dad on here with me. You guys have heard me tell you stories about him. And now you get to hear from the man himself. So, I mean, we do talk about you, Dad, that's for sure.
I guess.
You are a character.
Well, I'm just a little bit rednecker than you.
Well, I mean, you're old school, and like you live out in the country with no internet,
No.
no cell phones, none of
No.
that good stuff, no emails. You don't get emails, right?
No. Unless it's from Edward down the road.
I was watching this morning. I was going through and I'm looking at my email, and I get an email because now we don't shop at stores too much.
Yeah, I know.
We go to Amazon for everything. So this morning I get an email, and it tells me they want me to tell them how I feel about the pooper scooper that Amanda purchased on Amazon.
That's just a bunch of shit, if you ask me. That don't even make no sense.
They want me to tell them how I feel about my purchase.
Well, so there's nothing else in the world going on that we're subject to pooper scoopers.
Pooper scoopers, yeah. We gotta let them know how that purchase went. How is that pooper scooper
I've never
working?
tried it, so I couldn't tell you. My dog shits in the yard and it lays there till it evaporates. And when it gets filled in that area, he just goes somewhere else and shits.
Oh no, this is a fancy pooper scooper. There's a bag. You put the bag on the scooper first, then you poop the scoop, and then you take the bag and you throw it away. And then it's got a little baggie holder container that sits on it so that you can always have a baggie with you.
So trying to get a job of Ford's out the question anymore. You want a job scoop and poop. Is that what you're telling me? I mean, I just got to know.
Did you hear what Ford's going after now? Whenever they went on
Don't
strike?
tell me pooper scoopers.
No. They're looking for like 50% increase.
Oh my.
Yeah, that's what they were looking for when they went on strike.
Well, they're never going to get that, but they may get close.
I don't know. I don't know if that's even still going on. I think it's over. I think they
Is
got it. I think they
can't
got
see 'em
close
getting
to it.
50%, unless they let some insurance go or something.
It costs that much though nowadays. I
Yeah.
mean, it's what I mean. Those guys were
Trust me,
lucky
I
to be
know.
making $100,000 a year,
Oh, that's true.
and they're saying that median income's like over 200,000.
250.
Yeah. So I mean, they're it's not unheard of. I don't think. I think they're asking for a reasonable amount.
Down where I'm living, $2.50 is a good payday.
That's the lowest paid. That's the lowest cost of living in the country where
Yeah,
you're at.
where I'm
like,
at.
I mean, you're not in the actual county. That's the lowest, but it's real close.
Right, I'm very close to it.
Yeah, it's real close.
And but I tell you what, if a person wants to work, which until I had some medical problems, I did, and I still want to. I got my shop yet, so I will be back out there this spring, I'd say.
Yeah, you're gonna do it again.
Oh yeah, I can't not do it.
I was telling people when you moved down there, a lot of what you were doing, a lot of times you were giving people their first indoor bathrooms.
I did that for 12 people.
That's crazy, right? I mean, in this day and age.
And my grandmother was one of them.
Yeah, I
Her
remember.
first indoor bathroom.
Yeah, I remember. Because when we were kids, we lived on that house on Woodward, and we had an outhouse.
Yeah.
And I remember it, and I always tell people, I'm really too young to have lived that life. You know what I mean? Not
But-
too many people did.
Right, but you've experienced it.
And that was in Lorraine right here.
Right.
You know,
Right
that
down
was,
the road.
yeah, that's literally was right here. It's not like it was We weren't very far. You know what I mean? We
Right.
weren't out in the country. That was right here.
Well, but it was considered a country because it wasn't in the city of Lorraine. It was a township.
Yeah, but now I think the Lorraine
Lorraine's
annexed it.
annexed
Yeah,
it, yeah.
yeah,
But-
they have that now.
But back then it wasn't. And
Yeah, that's where Rowdy lives now.
yeah, my brother's got that house.
Yeah,
Well, different house. The old one burnt down.
right, right. Yeah, that was sad.
Yeah.
That was rough. That was a
Oh.
rough mark on our family.
When you live to be 70 years old, and you're looking forward to a few more, you look at stuff and you think, wow, I have lived through a lot, you know.
Yeah, you've seen a lot of crazy shit.
know.
I'll give you that.
And some of the dumbest shit I ever did, I did as an adult. I really have.
Dale always says, he goes, he'd say, you know, I used to be so mad at your dad all the time. I think, you know, oh, he don't treat my sister good and this and that. He'd say stuff to this the effect, you know, and he says, and now he says, I look back, his kids all turned out better than my kids. He says,
Yeah, he
you
told
know,
me
his
that
wife
one day.
is still holding him and their marriage is still holding up strong. You know, he said,
Well, you have to at some point just go insane and ignore everything around you. Your marriage will last forever. But if you're going to think about it, you're out. That's the truth.
you got to go insane.
Yeah, just go completely insane. Play with the little shadows in the sunlight, you know. and just when they go this or that, you just dear.
They don't even make those anymore. Those what were those Quaaludes?
I think you can still get them from Argentina. to be
Quaaludes,
honest about
really?
it. Yeah.
Really? I didn't
Some
think you
countries
could.
still use them
That was one of your favorite drugs back in the day.
if you had enough beer.
You had to have a lot of beer for
Oh
Quaaludes.
yeah, for
Why?
me because I did so many.
But what do you mean? Why did you need more beer? I don't get it.
I just drank a lot of beer with them. They really take you out there.
Oh, really?
I mean, when I was getting high like that, I really went for seeing things and hearing things, and
You liked that experience.
I don't remember, but I must have because I kept going for it. I mean, I kept going for it, and
That's why I have a memory when I was a kid. I have two memories from when we lived out of state. I think in Alabama. And one is I remember trying to get to the cop car, and you weren't around at the time. It was just my mom. And I remember trying to get back in the cop car. I was in a cop car. My mom says it's because I was walking out on the road on the highway or something like
Right.
that, and the police brought me back or something.
off of a peanut farm, you were walking down the road by it.
Oh, really?
I'll
And
never
I
forget
remember
that.
all I remember is wanting back in that car. Like I remember, like I had fun with the ride. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like I remember that. And the other one was my mom says it was you on Quaaludes. I remember us being in a closet and you being in the front yard with a shotgun, shooting it off. And we were hiding in a closet. And she said, "Yeah, your dad. That was when your dad was in his Quaalude phase."
Yeah, I went through I mean, I don't actually particularly remember that, but now you're talking probably 3 years of my life. I couldn't tell you one thing that happened.
Jeez.
I mean, absolutely not one thing that happened. I know at some point, me and your mother got divorced. I was married to Marilyn, and then I sobered up. And it's like, it's too late. You know? I've already done all this shit.
That's a hell of a party.
Yeah, I mean that's just. And when I was in the Marine Corps, I had a 3-day pass, so I went down to New Orleans, and I was married to your mom, and somehow I ended up married to some Cajun woman down there. I guess we got a quickie marriage or something. So I went back to the Marine Corps and told them about a month and a half later, and I told them, I said, look, I went to New Orleans, I got married, and I'm already married, and I need some help. and they got me out of it somehow.
Really?
Yeah, they got me out of it and didn't.
It's the first I've ever heard it. Her name wasn't Diane, was it?
No. And then you're Louisa.
Louisa.
Louisa was her name,
Louisa.
and I didn't even remember that until
My stepmom, Louisa.
it's been a few months. I remembered that
That's pretty crazy. That's a pretty crazy
Oh
story.
yeah, and I was doing the drugs then. Then they put me in. Well, while I was in the Marine Corps, I had to do drug rehab, and I had to do these psychological, whatever the hell they were. Uh,
Tests.
well, it was it's like an experiment, I guess. Back then, they uh, they put you in a room, not so different from this when you think about it, but you had the headphones on, and they would play certain musics and different things and voices, and see your reaction to it. See how you reacted to it, just in your movements.
Huh.
And that shit never panned out either. I mean, it was just
What were you? You were in the Army and the Marine Corps.
yes,
And which one were you in first?
Marine Corps.
The Marine Corps.
Yep.
And that's the one that you went AWOL, right?
Yeah. Well, they told me I couldn't get off of Paris Island
Why?
because it was an island, and you couldn't. There was only one way out, and that was that bridge over to the town. And I actually considered it a challenge. So, well, that's just the way I would think of things. And so I got off the island.
And then, so
And I actually went to my mother's house
right here in South Lorraine.
in South Lorraine. Yeah.
Yeah. And that, but how did you end up in Elizabeth? When did that happen?
Well,
Well,
Let's
Elizabeth,
see.
West Virginia, that is.
well, I went back to my grandmother's house in West Virginia when I left here. They put me in. They caught me at the bar there, and put me in jail. So I broke out of the jail, and then they put me in.
Yeah, how did you break out of the jail? Explain
I-
that.
I
You can't just bypass that statement.
Well, I just dug through the wall. It was a block brick building.
What'd you dig with?
My silverware when it come every day. They use real silverware. I mean, so,
Stupid them.
Yeah. And I had to go in the shower because it was just a big shower. And there was nobody else in the jail. I mean, it's a little bird thing.
Yeah, it's small. Yeah.
So I would shower and I let the water hit the wall and just dig at it. I got a big enough hole to crawl through, and I crawled through
It was in the shower. I thought it was in your cell. It was actually in the
It
shower.
was actually in the shower. I didn't really have a cell.
Did you have clothes
Yeah.
when you got out? Like, how'd you get out? Like, if you're in
Yeah,
a
I got out and went straight to the bar. I was there 2 weeks before the FBI came in and caught me. The bar, and I'd have probably got away then, except the bar was out on this cliff. So when you went through the back door, because they came in the front, of course, had to, didn't make a deal. They come in the front door, and I run to the back door, and I look down, and it's nothing but broken beer bottles and all that going down to the Ohio River. And that's like, yeah, no. So,
you're gonna take that one then, huh?
yeah, so I got arrested there. Then they took me to
That's
back to jail.
military police, right?
Right. No, this is FBI. Then the police, they turned me over to the police in Elizabeth, and they put me up in a steel cage upstairs. I mean, if I took a shower, somebody was there watching me, you know.
Yeah.
So, okay. Then they took me to the airport. They're going to put me on the plane and fly me back, but they weren't going to have a guard with me. So, the guard got up. After he got me into the seat, they couldn't handcuff me on the plane. The guard got up, and he took off. And I got up and followed him. Just came back up to Lorraine tomorrow.
And that, so then you got arrested again?
Yeah, got arrested again, and they took me back this time with an escort. Put me in jail. I don't know if it was your mom or Marilyn. After we had been married a little while, somebody called and told them about me breaking out of jail. I was a convict and all this stuff. I really wasn't a convict. I was just trying. Don't tell me I can't do that. I mean, that is something that always was a challenge to me.
Yeah, I'm not good when someone tells me not to do something.
Yeah,
either.
it just-
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, there's no way. What do you mean I can't do that?
Yeah, that's a pretty crazy story. So then, how'd you end up in the Army after that?
Well, I was in Pennsylvania.
Because they gave you you got it discharged, right? At
Right.
that point,
I
right?
got an
Okay.
honorable discharge, believe it or not.
An honorable?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I got an honorable discharge. I went in the Army, and they wavered me and all that because as far as my training and shooting abilities and that stuff and all the tests, I scored like super high. They gonna make me a helicopter mechanic, and I got bored and took off and took the general. You were born then. You were up at your grandmother's house, and I just wanted to see my wife and kid. And I was driving the general around. That was part of my duty that day. And he went into a bar, nightclub, or officers club, whatever it was. So while he was in there, I had the keys to the car, and I drove it home. That's all right.
Wow.
Yeah, man, I got discharged from that one. That one was BCD'd. So
That's pretty crazy.
yeah,
That's pretty crazy stories for sure. Definitely nuts. And you're fighting with Marilyn right now.
yep,
Yep.
yep. She's
She kicked you out.
kicked me out. told the told the
70
police.
years old getting kicked. Did you ever think that would happen?
No, I didn't.
But if it was ever going to happen to anybody, it's you and Mare for sure.
Yeah, well, she's got this thing. I don't know. She likes being made over a lot. I mean, she really does. She's just
Made over. What do you mean by that?
all of someone's attention needs to go to her.
Okay.
And
Okay. We call that selfish.
Yeah. Well, if I say that, I really get chewed out.
Oh,
So,
okay. All right.
I just say high maintenance.
That might sound worse.
Yeah, I know, but I don't know what else to say. But she's. We've been married 45 years. So I mean,
Is that the longest sentence you ever had?
yeah, and I don't want to. I would not do anything to hurt her.
No, of
But,
course not.
But this, like when they state police come over the other day, they come over, they make me get my guns and put them on the kitchen table. So I did that. And then they read me the papers, and she didn't say I hit her. She said I raised my hands in a threatening manner. Okay. Now, and I didn't do that. I mean, because
you didn't do the Jackie Gleason. Why I oughta.
Yeah, I didn't even do nothing. And she was just mad at me. She's mad at me. So, I mean, she's got some medical problems and stuff. And
But I mean, she at this point relies on you to take care of her. I mean, there's nothing
Yeah.
she could do without you there. I mean,
She
she's
doesn't
got
do
no
well.
food, no cigarettes. She's got nothing.
well, the freezer's full, the pantry's full. She got food.
Oh, so she could be an ass for a little while if she wants
she's
to.
got. I got a couple pounds of tobacco there, rolling tubes, and a machine that rolls the cigarettes. So, I mean, that's not like she's gonna be.
And she knows you're coming back eventually. She's just being an ass for the moment.
Yeah, well, she got this thing. I'm not allowed to talk to her on the phone and all that. So I left town and come up here, and she says, now she's going crazy trying to figure out where I was at. So finally, she got my daughter to call, and they called you and tracked me down. She knows where I'm at. I wouldn't talk to her on the phone because they said if I talk to her on the phone, I'm going to jail. I'm not going to jail. I'm not as young as I used to be. I can't dig through block walls.
And even if you could, you're not going to fit through a cinder block no more.
Well, no, it's going to take a little more than that. But that's just life in the fast lane.
Yeah, that's nuts. That's that's hard to believe for me. That I remember 10 years ago she did this again. Like about 10 years ago when Grandpa Dale was alive. She run down here and stayed with him or something.
Well, then she went
And we thought
stayed
you were
with her
too
brother.
old. We thought you were too old at that point. We're like, hey, aren't we past this? And now 10 years later, we're doing it again.
Well, see, it was about 7 years ago or so. She went to her sister and brother-in-law's house, the preachers, or the preacher and his wife. And then,
Debbie and Dempsey.
Yeah. Went to their house, and
That was 7 years ago?
yeah, and they, I don't know. And she just does that. I guess I'm not exciting like I used to be.
Yeah, you gotta cause and stir up some shit every once in a while, I
Yeah,
guess.
that's what she does anyway. She wants to.
Do you think it would help if you guys moved like closer to like out here by Grandma or down by Sherry or something? Do you think that would help? Like getting out of
I'd like
that,
to move further
out of
into the
hills,
country.
further into the country?
Yeah, because right now I've got a neighbor just not too far from me, and the next one's a couple 3 miles away. So that's too close.
That's too close. You want
Yeah.
to be away from everybody.
Yeah, and go back to the wood burning and
What do you think?
carrier pigeons.
What do you think about this Texas border situation and all this? The government telling Texas that they don't have the right to stop people from coming over. And
Well, I'm with the Texas governor on this. Only thing is, he ain't doing what he should be doing.
what should he be doing?
Shooting.
Shooting.
Hey, it's my fence, okay? I don't care what you say. It's my fence. There's a sign says "Do not enter." Once you enter, you're on your own.
I mean, I see where you're going with this.
Yeah, I don't care. You want to come into this country? There's a process. Do it.
Sure. Yeah, I
You know?
agree with you. Yeah, I
If you
agree
think the
with you.
process is wrong, then you go out there and you work every day to change that process. But opening the damn doors and, anything you like, grab it. I don't
Well,
think
yeah,
so.
and then they're paying for their housing, they're
Well,
paying
yeah,
for
no,
their
no, no,
medical
no.
expenses.
You're
they're
coming
paying.
here, you're going to work. Oh, well.
Mexico told us that they could solve them from coming over if we send them $20 billion.
Yeah.
That's what they said.
Well, yeah. That's
20
what we're
billion.
giving to them that's coming over.
It might be cheaper. You might
Yeah.
be right. Yeah, you might be right about that.
Yeah, because you still got the long-term effects and the medical care. And think about it.
But do you think that'll cause a civil war is what I worry about. There's 25 states with the Texas governor and actually sending troops down there to help them.
Right. And if there is, there is. I mean, not doing anything, I think, is worse than doing something wrong. I'm sorry. I mean, if you can't do anything about it, then what do you stand for?
Okay, I get it. Yeah.
I mean, you got to stand for something. Oh, well.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. You've said that for years. That's like been your mantra. Like
Yeah.
when I was working, when I was a kid, you're like, I don't care if you're doing it wrong, do something.
Right. That's it. You know,
Just
it's
do
easy.
something.
It's easier to apologize than not have tried.
Yeah, no, it's easy. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's like, yeah, I agree.
Yeah. That's
But I
just
don't know
me.
about civil war is scary to me. I don't want to go to war with
This
the
country was
states and-
founded over civil wars. People's rights were given to them, and the black nation, just to start off with, they had to fight to get their rights,
right.
and it was a civil war. It was a war in this country,
Yeah, that's
and,
true.
and it ain't like we went out and the blacks actually came to this country and climbed our fences. No, we brought them in slave boats.
Right.
These people have no right to be singled out as they're not human. That's
Sure.
wrong.
No, yeah, you're right.
I
I
mean,
agree.
I'm not. I believe you can do anything you want to. Okay? I believe that with all my heart. But just because I don't agree with what you do doesn't give me the right to stop you from doing it.
Well, that's what freedom's about.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what
Well,
freedom is here for.
If you don't fight for it, you're not going to be free.
Yeah, okay.
Bottom line, if you don't fight for it, you will not be free. Because they're going to say, okay, here, we're going to give you this much money. You're allowed to own this. I mean, and that's actually what a part of this government's trying to do now.
Oh yeah, they are for sure.
You know.
It's not even Mexicans coming over. I talked about
No,
that
it's
in the
all
last
over the country.
podcast.
All over the world is coming this way
Through
that
Mexico,
border.
correct? Yeah, when we in the '90s, we were like, we don't want them over here hanging our drywall, or that's what our fear was back then
Yeah.
in the '90s. But
I didn't
now
even
that's
bother
not
that.
what it is.
Yeah, I didn't even bother me when they did it. They come in, they do their work, they want to make money because there's no work where they're at. I got no problem with that. But register, do it legally.
Yeah. Actually, a
And
lot
I
of
know
those.
that sounds strange for me to say, do it legally. I know that. But as you get older, you figure things out.
Well, no, even when you were young, you always had that. You always had that. What's the word for it? You always had that.
Morality.
morale. And yeah, you had your morals were always on point. And I remember you were a big Reagan supporter when I was a kid, and I always found that odd because it
Yeah.
seemed like you were more against the system to be a supporter of Ronald Reagan. But then now, as I'm older and I see Ronald Reagan, I go, well, maybe he wasn't as much with the system as I thought he was.
No, the Ronald Reagan wasn't either.
But that's what I'm saying. That's what
Yeah.
I mean. I didn't realize back then. I thought he was the system. I was a child. You know what I
Right.
mean? I was
Right.
14 or
Well,
whatever.
and that's kind of the whole thing of the growing up.
Yeah.
You know, my youngest son, your brother, he had this thing. He said, "I'm going to vote for anybody who's going to pay my college education."
Yeah.
He actually made that statement, and I looked at him and I said, "Well, as long as too many people don't starve to pay your education, you know, everything you ever needed to learn in your whole life, you learned in kindergarten."
Nah, I don't believe that.
And it's true.
No, come on.
Milk and cookies are good. Sing a little every day, dance a little every day, and work a little every day. So you learned everything you needed to know. You learned in kindergarten.
So we've been wasting our time with education.
A lot of it.
The Amish would agree with you.
Yeah.
You ever thought about being Amish?
Nope.
It's not a bad idea.
I'm a Tucker, and I'm proud of that. I'm not ashamed of that.
The Amish would be a good like fit for you. You'd be right in there.
Yeah, but
I mean, you
I'm
can't
right
watch
where-
TV though.
I'm right where I'm at in Creston. I mean, there ain't that much difference.
Does it drive you nuts when you see how much money me and Sherry spend on stupid shit?
Yeah, I think, well, it seems like the younger generation right now that's growing up is more into, I want to do this now, not when I'm retired.
Yeah.
I mean, just to me, this is what I see.
Well,
So they're-
retirement's not promised.
Right, exactly. And if I would have known when I was 30s, 40s, what I know now, I'd have probably done the same thing. The hell with it.
Well, yeah, it's not promised. I mean, it's not.
My father worked all his life at U.S. Steel, almost 40 years. He retires. His insurance goes up to where he can't hardly afford it. What he can afford, it costs a fortune, you know, and half his paycheck's gone
Right.
before he even gets it.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's the promise all along was so you won't have medical bills and all that when you retire, and then one of the better places to work at the time.
Yeah, you told me. I remember when I got in the carpenters union. The promise was when I was young. I was 20 years old when I got into the union, and you told me at the time because I remember the promise was, and I'm 50 now, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
At 49, I could retire, and my pension would be around $7,500 a month.
Right.
And you told me, yeah, right, that'll never happen. I promise.
Yep, and it didn't.
Sure as shit, it didn't.
No,
It didn't.
there's no way they can make a promise like that, and even if at $100 an hour taxing a carpenter, they're not going to pay for all the carpenters out there.
But well, what happened was like probably now I'm guessing 10 years ago. I think it was like 10 years ago. They had everybody come in to. It was down. They had it at Rockside Road at the Holiday Inn. They had us. It was a big union meeting to discuss things.
Mm-hmm.
They told us to bring our wives. They had the police there, and they basically told us that we have to work now till we're 65 to get full retirement. 62, you could get partial.
Right.
That our multiplier was getting dropped down to 1. Like it was crazy what they did. And what they did is they lumped us in with Indiana and Kentucky, and their multipliers are all higher because they need to make up or catch up with us.
Right.
So we're basically
Paying for other unions.
especially Cleveland. I mean, Cleveland on their own. In my opinion, Cleveland should have walked away at that point. They should have said the same thing the laborers did. And laborers, 310 laborers in Cleveland, they're not affiliated with the International at all. They just said, fuck you, we're doing our own thing.
Right.
And that's what the carpenters probably should have done because they're the ones holding the power because nobody else has that kind of workload
Right.
that they did. You know what I mean? But yeah, it was a real damaging, punch in the face to everybody.
And it'll get like you don't have as many laborers in unions as you did.
Yeah.
I mean, it breaks down, and the promise of some idiot running my money that I put in a retirement account or a labored account, if you think this guy ain't eventually going to get tempted to steal it, you're wrong. Because they've been a lot of it stolen.
Well, that's your big thing in life. You oversimplify everything.
But it's not oversimplifying it.
But you do, though.
Yeah, it's the bottom line. That bottom line.
You've always done that. I remember. Do you remember when they gave me a pager at Subway?
Yeah. Well, that's real important to have an emergency sub sandwich or something. Well, you remember I'm working at that, I think it was a Mexican restaurant over there in Avon Lake or Avon.
Avon, yeah, Chester Road Square.
Yeah.
Juan's Mexicali.
So I'm in there hanging drywall. This guy comes in, I guess he's opening a restaurant or whatever it is. And he comes in and gets up to me and he says, "You got to hurry up and get this drywall hung. It's an emergency." I looked at him and I said, "You're making damn tacos. What the hell you mean emergency?" I mean, it's not a medical building. And that guy got pissed. He took off. I don't know.
That guy never paid his bill.
Yeah.
He never paid his bill. He was a cop here, a sheriff here in Lorain County. Never paid his bills there, and he ended up moving off to Florida. Like ran off to Florida. Never paid his bill over there on that whole building.
Big emergency.
Yeah, that's why he was in a hurry. He wanted to start selling tacos so he could hopefully make some money before he
left.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you find that happening a lot in this country.
Yeah, but you've always been that way. You've always said things where you oversimplify things to that. But you're not wrong. I'm not saying you're wrong.
Yeah,
But
no, I'm not.
there really isn't an emergency sub sandwich. But if you own the restaurant, you do want to keep it open.
You want to get it open, that's fine. But hell, they didn't even have the parking lot done. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, at the time, we built the whole shopping center.
Right.
We had done the whole entire shopping
And
center.
it was all gravel out there, and
Yeah.
and I got to get these tacos stand up. Are you kidding me? I just don't go for it.
Yeah, that's always been my favorite. With what's the worst thing that you watched me buy that you hated the most?
I've never seen it. I mean,
No.
I understand what you like is the vehicles, and I say if you can afford it, do it. If you can't, then don't. It's that simple.
Well, I'm not like Keith. Keith buys them big money.
Yeah, that's a whole different ballgame.
He paid over $500,000 for his SUV he's driving right now. $500,000, yeah.
And I got one out there that cost me $10,000, and let me see. I think I go where I gotta go. I come back from where I was at. I got radio, air conditioning, and heat. I just couldn't see spending that other $490,000.
But there was a point in your life, right, when you were young, that you wanted to show out a little bit. Never.
No, never did.
No.
No, I don't care.
Didn't dress to impress when you were young.
Oh, I did that for the women, but not for the, just to show off.
Yeah.
I'd dress off to, go get the women.
Did you wear bell bottoms?
Angel Flights.
Angel Flights. What's that?
Higbee's store brand. They had flare bottoms, not bell bottoms, but they're real comfortable, dressy.
Did you dance
pants.
disco like Dale did?
Oh, yeah.
Did you?
I danced at the same places Dale did.
Really?
Yeah.
You just didn't win the trophies?
I didn't even try. I was just there to pick up skirts.
That's funny. I didn't know you danced disco. That's pretty good.
Yeah, I did.
That's pretty funny. God, I would do anything for a video you and Dale dance.
Now, me and Dale wasn't dancing, but
No, not together, but you might be on the same floor,
yeah,
right?
him and Tina, that was always his partner.
Yeah.
I know. Dale would do anything for a skirt, but
It sounds like you might have too. Not as bad though.
Yeah, I would get out there, and as soon as I could talk him off that damn floor and off into the back seat, that way we went. I had a goal. We all had a goal.
What's the worst thing you've seen Sherry buy that drives you nuts?
I didn't quite understand the houses that she's bought. I mean,
I kind of felt that way with the first one, but she made a lot of money on that house.
right? Oh, I'm not talking about the the value of doing it. I never understood living in an HMO.
Oh yeah,
I
yeah.
just can't wrap my head around it. I'm paying this organization to make sure that I get mow my grass or something. What do they do?
Well, you know what is funny about where she's at now? Her driveway in front of her house, you can fit one car
Right.
basically before the garage. There's one car will fit in there. And the rule is, and they're blowing it away now. That they don't care. They just park wherever now. But the rule was when she first got the place was that you had to park in a parking lot they have down where the mailboxes are all down, and
Yeah.
it's on the other end of the development.
Oh,
There's a parking lot. So if anybody was there to visit, you were supposed to park in that parking lot over there and then walk down to the house, you know? And it's literally like it would be equivalent to I'm trying to think like okay, so it would be equivalent to parking on 42nd Street and Clinton when you're at grandma's house.
oh my, that's
Yeah.
a little ridiculous.
That's how far you were. But now they let them park in the street in front of the houses. Now they let them come in there and park there. But when I heard that, but there's only one spot where you could fit a car in front of the driveway. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
not like if you had a car, if you had 3 deep or something in your driveway. I mean, there's no land to her property whatsoever.
Well, the house is 4,000 square foot. It took up a lot of that lot.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
that's-
very true.
Yeah, I mean that's a pretty good deal.
Yeah, she did, and I mean, it's cheap. It's a lot. You can't buy that much house around here
No,
for that
oh,
kind
hell
of
no.
money. But you know, she had no gutters on it when she bought it. They didn't put gutters on the house.
Yeah, a lot of South Carolina, North Carolina, they don't do that.
Yeah, I guess everybody's putting them in around there now.
Right. They're
But
putting
it-
them on their own though.
Yeah, they're doing it on
It's
their
not
own.
a building
But it's
thing.
like here, you can't. I don't think legally you're allowed to do that. When you turn it over, it's got to have gutters, right?
I don't know. They've got that gravel system they use out in front of houses, and you can do that in a lot of places. But around here in Lorraine, who knows?
Yeah, I
You know,
doubt it. I
they
doubt
make it
that
up
that's
as
out of.
they make it up as they go.
But it was damaging her concrete already. I could see like I mean, she had just been in there about a year, and it was already had a line in the concrete where it was dripping and stuff like
Right.
that, you know. But that was the one thing that I saw that was just like, what? No gutters? Like, how can you not put? I mean,
Right.
you know, it's gonna rain and hurricanes and shit. You're not gonna have gutters here.
Yeah, and really, when you think about it, that's not even that big of an expense.
It really isn't. That you know.
Now you look at the price of the stuff you're building a house. That's probably one of the best protections you're going to get.
Yeah, that's what's going to protect. Yeah, for the
You know?
money, that's the most bang for your buck. Really,
Right.
it
You
really
really
is.
get it. You really get it, and it's like, I don't know.
Yeah, that's how it is down there, though. I guess. I mean,
Yeah.
all of them were but they were throwing those houses
Well,
up.
see, I got a first cousin down there. He's a big developer at Myrtle Beach. I mean, that's where he lives.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Who
Yeah.
is this?
Richard Mowry.
He lives down there now.
Yeah, he always lived there. When he graduated, he went straight down there, and he's been down there since.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's a big contractor.
I didn't know that. I've known who he is for my whole life. I don't know if I've ever met him, or maybe I did once.
I don't know if you've met him. I'm sure you did because he was still at home when I would take you up to Aunt Frankie's with me. But that's been, oh, son, you're 50. Come on now.
I'm an old man. I know. 50 years old.
Yeah,
We took a picture last night. I posted on Facebook. A lot of people liked it. It was 5 generations.
Yeah,
all in
5
one picture.
generations.
That's pretty wild.
but there's actually 6 generations living.
Is there? Mm-hmm. Why? Who's got kids? Who am I thinking? Who am I missing?
Yours.
No.
I thought that girl had a child.
That's the same as Lexa. That's the 5 generations. That'd be the same as Lexa. That's my daughter having a kid. Misty, you're talking about.
Yeah. Oh, okay. That's
Her
right.
kids don't have kids yet.
Oh, they don't.
They're teenagers. They're just now turning teenagers. They're young, still.
Oh, okay.
They're not
I don't
not
get to
quite
see
there
them.
yet.
I've seen them probably 3 times in my life.
No, it would have probably right now. It would have to be. I would have no, not even that, because that would be the same as me.
Yeah,
I
Jody.
don't. Yeah, Jody would be the same as me. His kids don't have kids yet, so no, I don't think so. I don't think there's 6 out there that I can think of. I'm trying to think.
There is somebody. Whose kid?
I can't.
Just had a kid, and I can't think of her. Down home though.
I don't know. I have no idea who it is. Rocky. Well, Rocky's. No, because that's not. That's
No, that'd be the same thing. That's hard to tell, you know it.
Yeah.
But I know there's one that makes it 6 generations.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I will call and let you know what it is. 'Cause I just drawing a blank here. I'm in this, whatever the hell this is.
I love that. I love that's something that you've done my whole life. You love that heritage
Well, yeah, my
and
family.
history, and you've always loved that. You've
Yep.
always been about that. You always are telling the story, or you know, you love old tools. I remember we'd go places and they'd have like some old hand plane or something to get you all
I
worked
got a
up
lot
and
of 'em,
excited.
too.
Yeah,
I
you
got a
get
lot
up.
of 'em.
You love that kind of stuff.
Still do, and probably always will.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's someday you'll have to load them up and carry them home your damn self. That's why I get the cast iron heavy ones.
To make me work harder.
Well, yeah, they won't hurt you. Well,
Yeah.
son, I gotta shoot.
Yeah, you got to get out of here.
Yeah, I gotta go to the courthouse at 70.
You got to give us one. You got to give us one piece of advice for long-lasting marriage before you go.
Yes, dear. Remember them 2 words, you'll be fine.
All right, Dad. Thanks for talking to us on a podcast.
Yeah.
We'll get this out to Sherry. She can check it out, see what's going on. I don't know if she doesn't listen all the time, but
Oh, I'm sure she'll listen to this one.
all right. We'll see you later.
All righty, love you and love everybody out there. Just remember, we're still rednecks.
Yeah, Guido was on the other day and said something about he didn't have access to guns, and it's like he's like, that's it. We didn't have access to guns. It's like, yeah, our guns were just laying around. I think.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Well, the state cop come in, asked me where my guns were at. I told him one's under the end table, one's in the corner in the bedroom by the bed, and the other one's up on the shelf in the closet. And he said, well, get them, and they're all loaded.
Yeah.
And he tells me, get them and put them on the table. So I did. And he didn't say nothing else about it. He left them sit there.
Remember when you shot at Randy when he came in the house because you had the gun under the couch or whatever?
Yeah, and I made a quick shot.
Yeah.
But I didn't shoot at him. I just shot to stop him. I mean, I didn't know who it was.
Yeah, right.
So,
That's the kind of shit that went on in my house. All right, we're out of here. See yas.
yeah, all righty, bye-bye. Oh, my. It's weird with the headphones on,
Yeah, it's real weird.
especially if you have never done it before.
You should see your hair right now. It's even
Yeah.
worse.